It was a quiet Thursday afternoon in October, the kind of day when the chill starts creeping into the bones of the old New England houses, mine included. I was nestled in my reading nook with a cup of chamomile tea and a worn hardcover of The Remains of the Day. Retirement had given me time to rediscover the pleasure of slow mornings and even slower afternoons, and then the phone rang. My daughter, Claire, never calls during the week unless something's wrong. "Mom," she said without even a hello. "Is Owen there?" The question was so sudden, so startling, I nearly spilled my tea onto the pages. "Yes," I said, glancing up at the ceiling. "He's upstairs in the shower. Why?" Claire's voice dropped into the calm, professional tone she used as a senior concierge at a five-star hotel in downtown Providence. "That's not possible. I just checked him into a suite here. With another woman." The cup slipped slightly in my hand. I barely managed to set it down before it crashed onto the side table. I stared at the ceiling again, now listening to the familiar hum of the shower. Owen had been up there for nearly 20 minutes, which I'd always found excessive. But now it took on a different meaning. "Are you sure it was him?" I whispered, positive. "Same silver hair, same deep voice, same cashmere coat you gave him for his birthday." Her name's listed as Carla Emerson on the reservation. My heart pounded. 8 months. 8 months of flowers, poetry readings, cooking dinners together. 8 months of thinking I'd found joy again after losing my husband David to cancer. I met Owen Reynolds at a literature appreciation group for widowed seniors. He was charismatic, soft-spoken, with a PhD in history. At least that's what he told me. Now everything felt like sand beneath my feet. And then I heard footsteps behind me, but they weren't Owen's. He wears size 12 boots that echo across the hardwood like a metronome. These were soft, careful. I turned slowly. A woman stood at the doorway to my den, holding a leather tote bag and a look of horror. "You're not supposed to be here," she said. For a moment, I was too stunned to speak. She was in her early 30s, with auburn curls tucked into a headband and green eyes rimmed with panic. "I could say the same to you," I replied, rising from my chair, my voice trembling more with fury than fear. "Who are you?" She looked up the stairs. The shower was still running. She stepped forward cautiously. "My name is Julia. Owen told me this was his house. He said he lived here alone. Gave me a key 3 weeks ago." She held up a familiar silver key, the exact one I gave Owen in August. I took a slow, steadying breath. "How long have you been seeing him?" "About 2 months. I thought we were exclusive." "Well," I said, "apparently we both thought we were the only ones." Julia looked as if she might cry. "What do we do?" "We wait," I said, folding my arms. "Let's see what our dear Owen has to say for himself." The shower stopped. We stood frozen in the living room, 2 women bound by betrayal. A few minutes later, Owen came down the stairs, shirtless, towel wrapped around his waist. His hair was damp, his face smug with the glow of a warm shower and the false belief that all was well. "Mara," he said, walking toward me with that infuriating smile. "Back early? And Julia?" He didn't miss a beat. Not a flicker of guilt. This man could have charmed a room full of prosecutors. "I didn't expect visitors," he added. "No, but you expected Julia to be alone," I said. "Didn't you?" His smile wavered. He glanced at Julia, then at me. "There's a misunderstanding here," he began. "Actually," Julia interrupted, "we were just comparing notes." "And keys," I added. For the first time, Owen, if that was even his real name, looked nervous. "I can explain," he said. "Great," I replied, moving to sit in my armchair. "Let's start with the part where you gave us both access to the same house, one that isn't even yours." He swallowed hard. "Mara," he said, taking a step toward me, "you know I care about you." "No." "Owen! I know you're good at pretending to care." Julia sat down beside me, finding unexpected strength in numbers. "We're not stupid," she said. "We're just the ones who caught you first." There was a long silence. Then softly he said, "My name isn't Owen Reynolds." I nodded. "Didn't think so." He sat on the edge of the couch, towel shifting dangerously. My name is Samuel Hart. I used to be a live-in caregiver for elderly clients. I've spent the last few years, well, finding ways to survive after my mother passed away. You mean stealing identities and manipulating women? I said. I never meant to hurt anyone. I stood. You used my grief. My kindness. You wore my late husband's cufflinks, Samuel. You knew what you were doing. And you gave Julia the same lines, Julia added. Did you ever think we'd meet? Or were you planning to ghost one of us eventually? I don't know anymore, he said. I've told so many lies I don't remember where the truth ends. Well, let me remind you where the truth begins, I said, walking over to the side drawer. I pulled out a folder and dropped it on the table. What's that? Julia asked. Records, I said. Bank statements, phone logs, and background checks. Samuel's eyes widened. You investigated me? I looked at him coldly. I'm a retired librarian, Samuel. You think I wouldn't notice inconsistencies in someone's story? You think I wouldn't know how to use a public records database? Wait, Julia said. Bank statements? I nodded. Samuel's been withdrawing small amounts from my account since July. Just enough to go unnoticed. Except I noticed. That's when I started digging. Samuel said nothing. His shoulders slumped. How many women? I asked. Besides us. He didn't respond. Julia leaned forward. Tell the truth. For once. Samuel closed his eyes. 6, maybe more. I stopped keeping track. Julia and I exchanged a glance. Rage, disbelief, but also resolve. We're going to the police, I said. And I hope every single woman you've lied to comes forward. I'll go to jail, he whispered. Yes, I said. You will. But not before we expose you. And that was the beginning of justice, of healing, of friendship.